All right, let's get to it. Thank you so much for your patience, Angel. So let's dive in. Really quickly, I need to see one thing though. I need to see something. Definitely. Hold on. Okay, gotcha. Wait, no, that's not you. There you are. No, that's not you. Aha, I see my mistake. There you are. Okay, cool. So, let's jump right about in. I'm gonna go ahead and share the screen here. I'm doing this on my hotspot because my Wi-Fi stopped working. It's like literally the worst thing possible for me. I mean, it works for my iPad. I just got my mom's old iPad, but I can't really do readings on there same way. So we just gotta hope that I don't get like additional costs and that the unlimited data works for hotspot. Okay, so all right, let's pull up the aspect grid as we do. First thing I notice is no aspects to the moon and Sag, like my moon. And let's double check that with my eyes. No, no, no. Interesting. So Sun and Scorpio conjunct Pluto and okay, right outside the combust zone of Mercury, so that's good. And it's not like stuck on your sun, but still significant. And yeah, sixth house, Sag Moon on aspect with Sag Venus, Galactic Center, rising, Jupiter rising. Look at you, Cancer with Jupiter rising. What a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful placement. And then North Node in Aquarius in the 8th. Of course, you're probably born the year before me or year of me. 89, yeah, for me. All right, so and some seventh house action. Okay. So first of all, your relationship between, your rising in Cancer with Jupiter on there. So I like to say people who have Jupiter rising, it's a blessing from the gods. It gives them this real like light, this real kind of shining bright, expansive, optimistic, big aura. It really I think it makes people very lucky also. Like it's very good for physical health. And it's very good for confidence. People who have this, they really do have that outer confidence thing down. So, that's obviously very, very good. And it kind of adds, even though you're Cancer rising, which by itself, makes one more um introverted. I think Cancer is one of the best rising signs personally, because I think especially with a chart with like a Sag moon, a Scorpio, which can be a little bit, at least the Scorpio part, a little bit intense. It adds like a real familial feel. Like I give the example of Kanye. I know he's did a lot of wild shit lately, but like, if we're anti if we're speaking of the, let's just think of him before he did all the wild shit, right? I'm not like saying I'm with what he said. The one thing he said that was too far, bro. Way too far. But I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about how him as a person, he has that kind of vibe to him that's very lovable, like a very familial. Like you just want to like hug him like a teddy bear almost. And I think Cancer risings, like they really benefit from that feeling of other people. It makes the chart, so it makes your very powerful moon and Sag rule your chart. Um, and so emotions right at the bat play a huge role in your life, right? Now when I said unaspected, that's very rare. I can't remember the last time I saw an unaspected moon. And basically, an aspect is if you look at your, let's see, what's one? We have like very few difficult ones, but it's like for example, you have Sun conjunct Pluto. That's an aspect. Or I don't really see any squares. You have Moon trine Jupiter, Sun trine Jupiter. So you have Jupiter here, and then 120 degrees away is your Sun, right? It's a trine. So it's a good, very good relationship. So not only is Jupiter giving you luck to your ascendant, is also giving you that luck to your sun, which is your Scorpio sun, your sense of self. So yeah, it's very interesting. Now having that so that rising, right, with the Jupiter rising, Chiron's there too, Ceres there too, you're gonna have a very like familial feel, a very like chill vibe. But then it almost, with Jupiter, it almost makes you kind of like a Cancer slash Sag rising, because Jupiter is the Sag planet, the planet that rules Sag. So basically, as a Sag moon, and then the moon ruling your chart, um, being in Sag, that's going to be a sign that you probably feel most connected to. I mean, I would guess that, you probably feel more connection with Sagittarius than with Scorpio. Especially with the Scorpio being trine by Jupiter. So you're a Jupiterian. So Jupiterian is all about learning. It's all about expansion. It's all about traveling. It's all about culture. It's all about education, and really finding that higher wisdom and truth. It's very open-minded. It's very nice. Sometimes they have to watch out for being overly like giving into the the richness of the senses, let's just say. But yeah, overall, I think that the combination is very, very nice. And the Scorpio is the intensity that can sometimes get Scorpios into trouble is really um it's made way more digestible with the Jupiter, and profitable, and it would make one way more popular, and all these things. Now with so yeah, with Jupiter rising, like I said, very good for health too. It gives someone a good self-esteem, typically, like someone who kind of knows who they are, and is able to express themselves. And when we speak of self-expression, well, we have to talk about the fact that the moon rules your chart, because you're Cancer rising. Cancer is ruled by the moon. So the moon for you in Sag is very important. So not only is it the chart ruler, it's unaspected. That's like unprecedented for readings I've seen. So in this scenario, emotions are going to play a huge role in your life, and your emotional needs that I'm going to talk about as a fellow Sag moon are going to be even more highlighted than they would be for someone else. Now, one thing also as a Cancer rising, it's important to really pay attention to the lunar cycle, because you will be more affected by it than others. So full moons, all that stuff can be really, really, really intense. But then also when the moon's in Sag, your lunar return, that can be an amazing time for you, especially having Venus in there. So I would pay attention to, when the moon enters Sagittarius for you, because that sounds very, very nice. Very, very nice. From beginning at 5 degrees to end at 25 degrees. So yeah, 2.5 days each month where you have a lot of good fortune and expansion and a good feeling. But yeah, with the Sag moon unaspected, basically think of an aspect like a hard aspect, right? Being like a checks and balances in government, right? Think of it like that. So let's say like you had your moon in Sag, right? Sag moon is all about freedom, it's all about adventure, kind of things I was talking about earlier, right? um Huge need to learn, to find wisdom, to always be expanding on their subjective understanding of what truth means, which usually takes them to faraway places, whether it's physically or metaphorically. um it can be different types of philosophies like this, or dabbling in other things that are different, but that just help you learn. It's all about learning. So when you travel, to a different culture that's foreign than your own, what do? You learn, your worldview expands. So it's all about expansion, right? That's the key with Jupiter. Now the key, the other key is to make sure that you're not over expansive, right? Where you get complacent, where you take too many risks. But with the fact that Jupiter is in such a beautiful aspect, there's to ascendant and to sun, the risk of that is very low. Now with the ascendant, it a Cancer ascendant would usually be a little bit more shy, um difficult. You have Mars, especially with Mars in Libra, right? Like that's like the ultimate um placement for like someone who can be very indecisive but also massive creative potential, and also like very diplomatic. Like they're the ones who people come to and there's a disagreement, but sometimes they can have issues with people pleasing, where they can't make up they're trying to balance everyone else and make everyone happy, and then they just kind of give up and they just like let the other person choose. And it's not always in their best interest. So it's very important to to lean into that powerful Scorpio energy, um and to create solid boundaries. But what I was going to say is that with the Cancer, um um with the Cancer rising, usually shy, usually kind of difficult with assertiveness, and it's with Mars, like I said, Mars Libra, that still can exist, but the Jupiter is going to make it a lot easier for you to express yourself, right? It's going to add that confidence, that boost you need. Now the fact that it trines the Sun with the ascendant basically means that you're able to express yourself in a way that aligns with your core mission, and you look away. In the fact that Jupiter's there, it means that like there's a lot of alignment in your big three. So that's really, really good. Some people have it where it's like, like myself, where there's like the Pisces and then the Leo / Sag, and it's like the Pisces is just completely like different and overrun. So you don't have that at all. You have this alignment. So how do Scorpio and Sag work together? And what's up with the Sag moon? What does that mean? Well, okay, think of it like this. Like the moon should be the most important part in astrology, and in your chart especially. Not like destroying the sun, but it's very important. Now, I must say that also your sun in Scorpio has its ruling planet Pluto conjunct it. So that's actually making the sun very strong in Scorpio, right? And it's also in the fifth house, which I love, because the fifth house is all about fun. So it definitely will make you like a less, there's some Scorpios that are just so serious and intense. They definitely all have that real deep probing nature. They want to know the truth. They're very, very, very conscious of their own shadow and in the shadow of others around. They can have trust issues. Sometimes there's issues around power and just the proper usage of it and manipulation, but jealousy, all that stuff. But like really, Scorpio is about vulnerability, and it's about like your North Node in the eighth house, which the North Node is what I base a lot of the whole reading on, is ultimately like it's ultimately like your mountain never climbed in past lives, right? So it's like where you're trying to get to. So in Aquarius in the eighth, it's mixing Scorpio and eighth house is Scorpio in Aquarius. So what does that mean? It means that your highest destiny is doing shadow work on yourself in this life. That enables you to use your past life gifts of being a Leo South Node like myself. So you're a past life star. You've been the limelight and all that stuff probably isn't that like it probably like appeals to you in everything, but to use all those skills, leadership skills, whatever it is, to help humanity. But it starts with your own shadow work, and that's why you're a Scorpio in this lifetime, right? To be able to assist others. And having Chiron, rising also, it might not be as close as Jupiter, means that you are, you're in some way meant to be a healer, right? There's most likely early wounds around the family and how you're able to express yourself within the family. Maybe feeling misunderstood, who knows? But yeah, which could have led you to feeling like a sense of kind of powerlessness, like not really feeling like you're able to speak your mind and to be assertive, right? So those are the kind of things that can happen. Now, yeah. So, and then the Jupiter is retro, so that, I mean, that's going to make someone that's very very introverted, very, very introverted. You have a 29-degree Palace. Wow, that's conjunct my sun and Mercury. So you're really, really hearing my message. Like you're really getting my way of speaking, communicating. But that's like a guru type energy. That Palace at 29, the last degree of the zodiac. I know it's scat, the star, but still, like, to have it there, that's like, potential for like being like an enlightened master kind of. It's crazy. It's on the midheaven, so your career or your dharma it's in the ninth house, is related to your wisdom and to how you can share your wisdom. It's really related to spirituality as well. So fields of career that'd be of benefit would be ones that would enable you to feel that oneness and to so something to feel that oneness and get closer to God and to that deep feeling of feeling at one with the universe, which your part of fortune over here, you see, which is like kind of your flow state in the 12th house, is double signaling that in Gemini. And that's also speaking to like channeling or something along those lines, that's like in the field of esoteric, kind of just occult, like whether it's astrology, numerology, or just being a fan slash learner like of it. The world's going to shift, in my opinion, big, and according to astrology, big time in coming years, right? So it's people like like you, like me, who are into this stuff, who are going to be the ones who are ahead, right? So the more you dive into it, the more you have this ability to really like put what is difficult to put into words, and make it understandable, make it digestible for everyday people, right? So that's a great talent. Now, and that with the Palace, where it is on the midheaven, like you could literally like be like someone where spirituality literally plays, like going to India and meditating like that, like things like that can play like a huge role in what you're meant to do. Now, in the end, it's meant to be really given back, so it's like you go through this process, and then you give back. It's all meant to be your contribution to humanity, basically. So hmm, 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 hmm. So with that said, the South Node in Leo in the second, it's like, you've had money, so I don't really think that, uh, based on what I'm seeing so far, that money would be like some big karmic issue. Although it is the axis of money, so you never know. But it's really about aligning yourself with higher spiritual values in this lifetime. And a lot of that has to do with going deep within the self, and not being so stuck in the material world, right? If you combine Taurus and Leo, the South Node, and the Sun ruling in the fifth, it could have someone who is, who got used to success, and who maybe didn't spend, like, maybe they're like very, very creative for maybe you're like very, very creative, or you are and were, right? But you didn't contribute that. You didn't give that gift that you had, right? You didn't allow that to be shared with others, with humanity. So from that standpoint, it's important to do that in this lifetime, right? And as I said, that really comes from going deep within the self. Now, besides that, though, Venus and Moon and Sag, I would bet everything that you love, 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 love traveling, whether you've been able to do much of it or not, like international traveling. Even the US, like, I feel like is like 5 different countries. So like just different cultures fascinate you. You gain a lot from them. You might, in terms of love, I could, a lot of people, you actually have the exact same Venus as my girlfriend. So she's with me. I don't think she's really dated anyone. I know she has. But like, Venus and Sag people, like my good friend Agnia has it. Like I know a lot of people with it, and they always date foreigners, people who are not from their culture. It's just because they gain a lot. They feel more, like they're really truly learning. They like to learn through their partnerships. So, it's not anything like negative. It's just something that what you're attracted to. So high chance that you can meet your your life, your partners, or whatever, either like traveling from a different culture, or like where you are, but they're from a different culture. So yeah. Then there is, so with the moon, as I like keep like hinting at, but not like talking about, even though I love talking about Sag moon, because I consider it, just between me and you, I consider Sag moon the best moon. That's, I'll tell you why. Sag moon, the camera's way off. So Sag moon is so optimistic, right? It's so optimistic. Especially with all your Jupiter placements, and being a Scorpio, you have this ability to really really see the good in everything and in everyone, right? Nothing can really get a Sag moon. Well, my beard's really growing the last like 2 days. I'm just too lazy to shave it. I'm just gonna see where it goes. It's actually the best it's looked. It's very beardy. It's very thick. I don't know what happened. Usually like grows all weird and gets all scratchy. This time it's kind of like, I don't know, maybe God wants me to like be a beard man for a while. I don't know. We'll see. It's pure laziness. I need to shave this part. Okay, whatever. Who cares? Okay. So Sag moon is all about expansion. So with there are a few drawbacks though. So I'm gonna tell you about those. But I'm gonna tell you about the whole story. While I do that, I'm gonna go get myself a, as you say in French, boisson fraîche. No, it's not funny. It's just like a fresh beverage, not alcoholic, of course, because I don't believe in alcohol anymore. I haven't for a while, but that doesn't mean I don't drink, just very rarely. But speaking of drinking, Sag moons love to drink. And if they don't love to drink, they love the party. It's like one of the most social moon signs, and it's really, really about connecting with people. It's really about just expanding yourself. Like, so when you talk about the moon sign, the reason it's so crucial is because, this is more than this is your need. This isn't a want. This is a need, right? So what does the Sag moon need? The Sag moon needs to feel freedom. So to relationships, they need relationships where they can be themselves, where they can travel, where they can, especially your Venus being in the same sign, probably where they can expand themselves. So maybe they'll date someone, um, they'll be really attracted to someone's philosophical outlook, right? Maybe it's that mix with them being from a different culture. I mean, they're not going to just date someone because they're from another culture. Actually, they might. They might. Who knows? I'm a Sag Moon. I've only dated girls that are not like that's not true. I mean, I grew up in America, and even in America, I was dating non-Americans for the most part. But yeah. Anyways, so yeah, that's kind of the thing. Aside from that, Sag moons are just very open. They're very open, and like I said, they see the positive in everything. So that is great. And when things like get them down, when life gets tough, Sag moon always has this like, oh, it looks like I have like these lights, okay, aura. But Sag moons always find a way to find the positive, right? Always. It's a beautiful thing. This is where it gets difficult though. Let's say you have trauma, or let's say that, especially with your Libra Mars, let's say that you're in a relationship that is very imperfect. There's some good things, but there's also some things that hold you back. Well, Sag moon sometimes can allow, let's say you're like in a verbally abusive relationship, but it's not like extreme to where you're like, I gotta break up. It's like pretty bad, but not so bad. The Sag moon, because they're so optimistic internally, and because they're way more future oriented, they're way more focused on the future, they will sometimes overlook those things, right? Now, I don't see so far any trauma markers on your chart, but I haven't looked at everything yet. I do see Saturn on the descendant, so that usually makes it so someone doesn't meet their soulmate or their life partner till after Saturn return, which you have just passed not too long ago. But yeah, that's kind of one of the things with Sag moons. Is that tendency, that tendency to just see the good, Also, they can be very like abrasive and like this is how it is, and unconsciously, since the moon is like what runs the show beneath the surface, because you spend so much time searching, especially as a Scorpio, which makes you like the searcher, the prober, the person that wants to like, in the fifth house. I love that combo because it's like that creates someone who like wants to turn what they do for fun into their work, and it makes them like a real good mix of like serious and fun. But with the Sag, scratch myself. They can sometimes force their opinions onto other people too much, and they have to learn the lesson that everyone finds truth in their own way because they've spent so much time accumulating their life wisdom and their truth and all that they have their family members or their people close to them like, you need to know this, and they'll sometimes just throw it on there. Now, the unaspected moon can create a possible emotional disconnection. So it can really magnify the needs represented by the moon sign, right? Like a good example of this is Steve Jobs. His moon was unaspected in Aries, right? Which is close to Sag and fire sign. And that gave him like that real need to be like number one, you know? Also there can be like a emotional disconnection from the parents, um, and from other people later in life. But they also may need to express like a very nurturing, caring, educational behavior in order to really feel connected with the world, right? So yeah, it really mainly just like makes that moon need just stronger. So keyword with Sagittarius, adventure, adventure, adventure. It's the gypsy who just does all these things. So you can't feel held back at all, um, by anyone. So yeah, the gypsy that turns into the um, teacher that turns into philosopher. That's just a metaphor. You see, you go around, you experience a lot through your experiences, your random experiences, your worldview expands, then you teach it to people, and then you create like a grand life philosophy that helps, you know, the collective. Um and a lot of people with Moon and Sag, when they're feeling stressed out, they feel a need to kind of escape and travel and just get the hell out of where they're at. You know, it's also very competitive. I see it in lots of charts of really good athletes like Damian Lillard, the basketball player, is the first one that comes to mind. I think Jordan had a Sag Moon. Lots of NBA players. Um, you know, it's a fire moon. What do you expect? Um, so that's one part. You know, you got to burn off that fire, or you can get a little bit stressed. But you know, having water fire like myself, you know, that still does pose an issue, right? And also one thing about another about Moon and Sag, usually they see their mother as like very fun loving and independent. Um, so yeah, and then it's in the sixth house. I should say that before I get into the sun. Um, that is about, you know, health. So daily health, intellectual, emotional, physical, spiritual. That's like a huge part of your life, right? Um, and I think it's kind of showing me how it's even exacerbating this further, how the need for everything that so you need to like do mad research into Sagittarius, the mythology, everything, like every possible video you can watch on Sag Moon. um you know, like there's so many elements to it, right? um in my experience, I mean, I grew up in the US. Always saw things differently. That's what Sag Moon also does, is it gives that grand perspective on everything, you know. And I only allow myself to be around open-minded people. I'm all about like it's all about intellectual flexibility and open-mindedness. There is the warning sign for dogmatism, which is the opposite of that, right? Um, but yeah, okay. So with the sixth house also, sixth house moon, you know, it can make like daily health like a preoccupation. So like I said, it's not, like whatever health that is kind of like, you look at the chart more, and with the Sag and the Scorpio, like you could be like, it could just make you it can make you a healer. You know, it can make you meant to be a healer, but a healer who has to experience a lot of things, right? Um, also it's very karmic. You can make doctors, and just healers in general, and being a Scorpio yourself, that's the sign of the healer. We had a quick, this is what's been happening, but I should be on my hotspot still. See, imagine like me. Oh my God. Oh, yeah, it still is. It's because I think I have to keep my phone open. Okay. Hold on 1 quick second. Okay. Very good. Just keep it like this, I guess. So where was I? So yeah, okay. So Scorpio is the sign of the healer. So it's very, there's a connection there. But I wanted to speak about water and fire because I'm a Pisces, which is water, and a Sag moon. You're a Scorpio, which is water, and a Sag moon. Um, so we definitely have a lot in common, although I have a lot more fire and a lot more air. So I have a lot more of a masculine chart than you do. But what in my ascendant's Leo, yours is Cancer. But regardless, there can be difficulty with that in the sense that the Scorpio is going to be a lot more introverted. So there's going to be a part of you that's a lot more introverted, that needs space, that needs privacy. And then there's going to be a part of you that wants to just go out and meet everyone and be that Sag, just like, just complete adventure, like, and that moon that just desires that, right? So it's a real need to kind of find a way to balance those two out. With that said, having Scorpio conjunct Sun, or excuse me, Pluto conjunct Sun, that makes a very intense, obsessive person. Sometimes when it comes to personal power, right? And it can make someone very, very involved on the highest level with their own shadow so that they know, okay, this is the shadow work I need to do, right? But they can be very intolerant to other less powerful people because you're a natural transformer. Like you are someone who goes through death, rebirth, transformation. It's a part of your life. You probably look back at different eras of your life and you're like, wow, like that's how Scorpio energy is. It's like you understand we got joined by another. Well, she's not Scorpio, she's Cancer, right? Little Cancer sun. Sag moon. Another Sag moon. Ain't you? You guys have a lot in common. She's a Cancer sun, Sag moon. Um, but then she's a Pisces rising. Literally, you guys are like, yeah, I mean, because wow, your risings are trine, same element. Your moon is the same, and your sun is the same element. So you and her are like really a lot in common. But she has an Aries Mars. You have a Libra Mars. Big difference. They're opposites, aren't they? Um, and also another thing, it's funny she jumped up. Sixth house Venus and Moon. Another thing I would bet money on. Actually, I'm not gonna bet money on this one. Sixth house rules pets. Pets would probably play a huge role in your life. Huge healing role. You love them with Venus, sixth house, love pets. And Moon, like how you can get like a lot of emotional connection, karmic emotional connection with pets. Stop scratching that pet. So I'm gonna show you little Esme again. Yeah, she's a good girl, aren't you? So yeah. That's a big thing with that Scorpio part is like, you're born in 89, so you probably like and you don't have that many hard aspects. But still, it's worth discussing how difficult that can be, right? And how you have to really find that power within yourself, which can come naturally from having that South Node in the second house and the Jupiter rising. So I'm not really worried about it. And the Sun trining, Jupiter is just, come on, like, what are we talking about here? I think that the fifth house and Jupiter nature of and Sag Moon like speaks to your probably like just immense generosity, and popularity, and just ability to just enjoy life and just spread joy. Um, but you have to watch out for the self-indulgency thing, you know, and potential laziness. That's just the one thing I'm seeing. I'm like, watch out for that shit. especially with Chiron first house. But with that aspect of Moon and Sag, I have the feeling that you're just like get up and go, get up and go. But then the Libra Mars, I'm like, oh, maybe like you inside you're like get up and go, get up and go. But then you're like, yeah, but this, but that person, but this person. So it's like, when we speak about Libra Mars, it's like how do we? And it's also unaspected. Wow, interesting there. That was unexpected. So unaspected Mars, that's an untamed energy. That's like a wild horse. So the fact that it's in Libra actually kind of saves you. And the best way to channel Libra Mars is through the arts or through some kind of career where you are the diplomat, right? Makes sense? So, yeah, you have to watch out for like the passive aggressive energy. Um, and yeah, just like how how you deal with anger, right? There's a need for like the right outlet for that energy, right? So this will make even a Libra Mars more fiery to have no aspects to it. Um, or what it can do is it can make you just like the Libra Mars, it can make it just like very much like I'm going with it, like I am like I don't know what I'm going with. Like it can make you just like, all right, I'm an artist. I'm fucking doing my art, you know? I'm a diplomat. I'm something. I'm a counselor, whatever you are. I'm a healer. I'm a judge, a lawyer, business person, right? And my cat's like looking at my hands. So I think that really helps. I mean, it's conjunct Black Moon Lilith though. So that actually that's not an aspect in the sense of the normal sense of the word, but that's when we got to talk about. And Juno's there. So this speaks to kind of like the darker side of your personality, that only shows up at your lowest vibe. It's like how to kind of get past your and it's 29 degrees, so it's like, whoa, crazy shit. Um, Basically that gives you like a crazy amount of drive. So an energy. And it actually really helps the Leo Mars because it gives you an ability to really stand up for your beliefs and your opinions. But it can also add the Sag Moon tendency to be forceful with the position. So having a Libra, I've never seen a chart with a Libra Mars before where I've said, thank fucking God it's a Libra Mars. So that's cool. Um, yeah. So yeah, it creates like a warrior, that keeps pushing no matter what. But like this is the thing. Black Moon Lilith in Libra at 29 degrees is literally speaking to what I told you before about the potential for people pleasing and putting other people before yourself. So that's something that really needs to be overcome in this lifetime, right? So that comes from really leaning into that strong Scorpio energy of self, of I've created this in myself, I've created myself, and directness, and having these strong values, to not allow yourself to be pushed around, especially in relationships, because your dharma is really, really linked to the two last signs, Aquarius and Pisces, right? So you have these big goals for the collective. So it's really important to not let like lower vibe humans hold you back, especially relationships. And I felt something when I just said that. But with that said, you have Venus trine South Node. So that's actually really, really nice relationship karma. And that would indicate that your relationships would be very faded. Your romantic relationships would be very faded in this lifetime. And that they would have a very beneficial impact on you. So as opposed to a square where there might be like some real unfinished business in that department, overall you have really good karma. I'm just gonna say it, right? Because I don't see any like there's definitely like a lot of work and the big work, but like it's not like you have all this fucked energy, you know, like I barely see any, but I'm going to explain everything. I'll continue to. That's what I've been doing. Let's go ahead. Should we share again? Yeah, share again. Share. So, he pauses. He pauses to think. So yeah, getting away from materiality doesn't mean quitting your day job and not giving a shit about like success. No, we're not saying that. We're just saying that, you know, spirituality, freedom for you, like these are the things that really matter. Doing what you love. Is the sun in the fifth house? Like you've had lifetimes where you were the person that, you know, was doing stuff that, you know, like working those long jobs, whatever it is, you know. So in this life, you're here to have some fun, you know, maybe have some kids, some very powerful kids for that matter. And maybe kids where you gain a lot of your awareness, doorway to higher awareness through them. Maybe they're very smart too. You have lots of deep conversations with them and they become your friends. Like when they're older and you're older, like you know, you become very, very close friends with them. Like when they've like developed, you know, like cognitively and stuff. Um, so yeah, Scorpio fifth is interesting, right? How can one make work or how can one make play work? Now, with that said, thank you, Esme. My cat, who is food addict, is playing fetch. She brought me the toy, so I threw it downstairs. This happens a lot in this household. Two of the three do it a lot. One does it. One, Mika is so smart that she actually knows how to play with herself. She knows how to, she brings the ball to the top of the stairs and actually like, she'll like push it down herself, which is cool, but I love throwing it for the two others. They bring me little mice toys, these little smushy balls. I throw it down, they grab it, they bring it back up. Good workout for them. I'm happy, they're happy. It's really cute to see them run. Anyways, enough about that. So inner child, let's talk about that. Fifth house, inner child, that needs to be expressed, and that may have been held back early on. So creative hobbies are very important for you, and just having fun and enjoying life. Now, that doesn't mean as a Scorpio, this is huge. You know, you're born a Scorpio for a reason, because there is that split between the Sag side, the fun side, you know, the fifth house moon sign, all that Jupiterian energy, all that learning. But then there's also some serious stuff, you know, and by the way, I highly suggest I probably pretty much everyone. I mean, like who okay, one person out of every single reading I've done has not done this, which is you get this reading, you get the follow-up, which you already have, and instead of just doing the follow-up, you add the current astrology reading, right? And basically the follow-up's an hour where we're talking about everything that was talked about here, and the current astrology, this should just go away, no, is me using all my predictive techniques. Camera, goddamn. What's happening? The camera's fucking up too. It's like it used to be more zoomed out. That's better. Yeah, so it's basically me using all my predictive techniques plus my 2 masters in psychology for like it's basically a 3-hour Zoom session. And the word I use is alignment. That's how everyone feels after. Aligned. We start out the hour with a follow-up, and usually I charge $350 for the added current astro, but for you I do it for $250. So you let me know. I'm not gonna, if I do ask you about it, I forgot to ask you because I don't fucking know. But let me know if you're interested, and zero pressure, obviously. And if you want to just do the follow-up, it's totally cool. But yeah, it's really interesting to know about like the year ahead, and I have tons of techniques I use. Anyways, with that said, you really need to have some fun. And the reason I brought that up is because I sense I usually see some synchronicity. There's always like a synchronicities between what I'm saying, and then then I'll look at the current astrology. I'll be like, oh, weird, progressed moon in Leo or something like that, you know, or like something that's like really showing how like what I'm saying in the reading from the natal. There's usually like a synchronicity between the natal, which never changes. You get this done once, it's done forever. You save it, you save the link I gave you. You can watch it in 5 years, whatever. This is the mouse I'm throwing. And what's going on currently and then the year ahead. Yeah. So anyways, with all this said, you have like the potential for you like being nurtured through emotions. You have real deep emotional needs, but then it's is it reciprocated? That's the big question. That's what I would ask, right? Is it reciprocated? That's the question that needs to be asked. And with your Juno in Juno's the asteroid of love, of marriage, in Libra fourth, you're really like ideal mate is someone who has that Cancer side, that emotion, that wants to have that family, that firm foundation, security, financial, emotional security, that real rock. But also where there's a real level of beauty and fairness and stability, like just like peace. That's the word. Like all those words of peace in the relationship, and where things are fair, not where it's like, how some relationships is like very like there's like a power struggle. Things need to be fair, but none of that people pleasing stuff, And Mars conjunct Juno is going to make you usually make someone like quite relationship oriented in the sense like they're going to be chasing really like ambitious, or like kind of the action. Mars is your action, your assertiveness is pushed into relationships. And Mars and Libras, there can be codependency issues as well, right? Where so you got to watch out for that. Because the danger in your chart is that you go into the wrong relationships and they hold you back from that need you have to explore, and also to dive deep into your own creative hobbies, and also to dive deep into your shadow work. And your Mercury also shows this. Your Mercury is in Scorpio. So it's just outside the danger zone of combust, which is when it's 5 degrees or closer. I won't, but if it's a Kazemi, if it's so close it's 0.17, it becomes a superpower. Yours truly has that. I'm just joking about how I present it, but I do have it. But you're outside that zone. So you have like the nice 2-degree Scorpio Mercury. And that's just about like, really in 5th house, so there's a need to express yourself through that creative artistic kind of lens, and really looking for like creative projects that are mentally and creatively, like spiritually stimulating. So I wonder if you're like an artist. I don't like guessing professions because there's like, like I'm an artist and I don't make art, but like there's definitely that art vibe for sure. But in Scorpio, Mercury and Scorpio people are the researchers. Let's say you get really into astrology after this reading, or maybe you already are into it. You're mysterious. You're Scorpio. Let's say you're like, oh my God, this shit's so fucking cool. Mercury and Scorpio people are the people who they go hard. They're like, I'm gonna just go fucking intense in this shit. Especially with your Sun conjunct Pluto, that gives you this real resourcefulness, this ability. Like you can be down, but you're never down. Especially with the Sag Moon, you're never down. Always get back up. Also, Mercury Scorpio people, they cannot stand, especially Sag Moon, small talk. They cannot stand it. They're allergic to it. They're like fuck, like they don't want that. I mean, and not all the time, but with your rising, I mean, I think you can definitely have it, but I don't think that it's something that you love. I'm just gonna be honest. With Pallas at 29 fucking Pisces, come on, the last degree. Pallas is like the third eye. So Mercury, Scorpio, right? And then Pallas, Pisces, you have like deep spiritual, potentially psychic gifts. But also Mercury and Scorpio, aspect wise, it's close to Lilith and Mars. So you can really sting. You can really sting through what you say. You have to kind of watch out for that, right? And it's sextile Uranus, so you're very original. You can have very entrepreneurial, very like your thoughts, like it's an exact conjunction. It can also make someone like a warrior, like just the Mercury and Scorpio. But yeah, that conjunction is 0.05. So it's fucking giving you a very it's interesting because I'm speaking very fast in this reading. I'm positive that you are following my speed. And this, like, this sextile between Mercury and Uranus that's so close is so powerful. 0.05. It means it's like they're like, exactly 60 degrees away. And that gives someone who speaks fast, who's super mentally alert, who thinks outside the box, thinks ahead of their time. And it's not usually seen in a misunderstood way. It's usually seen as a genius way. It's a sign of a genius, potentially. But maybe not recognized, right? Potentially. Now, yeah. It's my second time where my got a little bit wild. Anyways, so yeah, that's huge. Yeah, vertex there too. So yeah, the doorway to higher awareness for you is definitely through going deep inside yourself, deep inside the esoteric, deep inside all of these arts, and just going through the death rebirth transformation and finding that internal power, that steel, that anchor within you, that power that you feel that is there, so you don't have to use the lower vibe of the Scorpio, Pluto, which is kind of like controlling and needing to be in complete control of other people and stuff like that. Okay. So yeah, Palace, where it is on the midheaven. I would say that Palace is all about the third eye, the wisdom seeker, intellectual pursuits. It's very Uranian, like wake up calls, higher understanding, all that stuff. So that being on your midheaven in Pisces, is really showing how you're like a big catalyst for change and someone who wants their career to really, or like what their dharma to really be about them learning the highest of highest wisdom. It's also good for a sense of humor. I have a 29-degree Aries one, so whatever the fuck that means. Yeah. So it can also make someone able to kind of laugh in the face of adversity, which is I totally with the Sagittarius also. But in Pisces, that gives someone gives someone a mind that they can merge their mind with the universe, right? They can heal through their words. Very artistic, very psychic, all that stuff. And the ninth house, it's about being able to see the big picture, teach advanced knowledge, share your philosophies, all that Sag Moon stuff. So it plugs in perfectly and it's linked to your career. So maybe you're meant to be like a teacher of some sort. But teachers have to explore and they have to really, really go out in the world. So yeah. Haven't even touched on your seventh house yet. Been kind of waiting for that. But yeah, the Venus, of course, I already talked about it in the sixth house, though. So Venus in the sixth house, I've observed, is very, very good for health also. Although the moon there can kind of make fluctuations. So if you're overworking, which I don't see that being something in your chart, not that you're not a hard worker, but if you are overworking, it can cause issues. But it gives someone a very peaceful daily work environment, good health, good relationships with coworkers, healthy living, all that stuff, right? But also, so I said the really good karma with people from past lives and stuff. But what I've noticed with sixth house Venus is sometimes that there are some relationships where let's say there needs to be maybe let's say it's a 2-year relationship here and there where you have to kind of balance out a certain karma that's the point of the relationship is that you left it in a past life. So it kind of goes against what I was saying before. But overall, relationships should be pretty powerful for you and pretty very faded and all that. But yeah. And in a partner, you want adventure, like I said. You need someone who's has that worldview that you can really benefit from and see in a similar kind of have who has that big picture view of things, who's also philosophical, all that. And with Juno, we're in Libra, very romantic partner. Mars there too, very romantic partner. In Black and Lilith, it's like, watch out, like, don't go for the wrong partner. Don't go for where it's like they have like, that class and that attractiveness, but they don't give you your needs, emotional needs, the moon, the exploration. So you need someone who gives you freedom. Now, with romance, the seventh house is filled with planets and asteroids. So, namely, you have Uranus there, which is well, in Placidus, which I don't do, but just to say, it would be a sixth house Uranus, which would be like me, where it's what time? 4:37 a.m. and I'm doing this reading. I'm probably gonna do like one or two more after. I'm in the zone right now, so why not? Yeah, like completely, like that's the energy of that, right? Like it's like it can give someone like just a very like just unique approach to daily living, not bad, just different. But in the seventh house, it makes you want very unconventional relationships, basically, right? Now, the closest one though, unconventional and like they need to have like a certain like meaning of the mind. There needs to be a meaning of the mind. Now Saturn is smack on your descendant, like literally smack on 0.07 away. That is highly significant because well, one, it opposes your ascendant, right? But which can cause issues around. And wait one sec. Because Neptune is, yeah. So you have all of them. So yeah, like Saturn there, it basically makes it so like your most important relationships won't happen until after Saturn returns. So congrats, you made your Saturn return. It makes you a very loyal lover and friend. Someone who takes relationships very seriously. But until it's time to return, there can be lots of lessons in love that are learned. It can also make it so your partners can be like very controlling and critical of you, also friends. And it can also make it possible you subconsciously attract like a very strong, strict father figure. And there can be fears of like not being good enough to take control of your own life, which is shown with the first house Chiron. But alternatively, like there's other ways to look at it. It could just make you like someone that's older, more wise at least. Very, like I said, very responsible in relationships, very loyal. But it can also be the opposite, where you're the responsible one and you attract like more immature lovers and friends, right? So it can go either way. So definitely like some astrologers say you should definitely, like with Saturn in the seventh, you should wait until after 30 to marry, because then after your Saturn return, because that means that Saturn, like if you get married at like 25 or like 24 or younger, whatever, like Saturn will transit over your seventh house, over the Saturn, and that causes lots of divorces, at least, or like lots of difficulties. It really tests the relationship sometimes too early, but anything can be overcome, and you really learn a lot through your one-on-one relationships, like a lot, right? There can be fears around getting married, around forming close relationships, right? And I already mentioned the delayed and the delayed influence and all that. But yeah, Saturn's also fears, right? So if your parents are separated, the fear can be pushed even further, right? So yeah. Also, there's a tendency to be like critical of other people. So you have to watch out for that. Just it's all about like just like listening, and not judging too much, and kind of learning about like relationship dynamics. And then in that way, you become more discerning about what makes, good relationship choices, right? We've already seen that with all the energy down there in Libra, how there can be difficulty there, and it comes with age. And yeah, it's honestly like a really good one after the Saturn turn, but difficult before. Also, it's a indicator of a very long life. So I've already met how many times have I this doesn't happen much in readings. It's the third time I mentioned something about like about health, but that's yeah. Yeah, like a lot of celebrities who have this have lived past the average life expectancy, right? Um so yeah. Um and then Neptune's there too, so that's super important. That's literally a degree away. I've seen this a million times, so it's just like, okay, here we go again. Neptune, seventh house, is the ultimate rose-colored glasses in love. Isn't that right, Esme? Um, and basically, people who have that, they have to be very discerning of who they let in, because they can let in the wrong people, and they can like see someone, oh, they're so great, especially the Sagittarius. Oh my God, this is the one, this is the one, and then they turn out to be a psycho, right? And it can make someone who sees the potential, especially the water sign Scorpio, the healer who wants to change and heal someone. And with Vesta there too, it makes you someone who works very hard in that respect in relationships. Like a very like a hard worker, someone who's really willing to give themselves. Especially Saturn on the ascendant and Vesta in the seventh, you're someone who's very committed. So it's very important to have someone who matches that commitment, which goes back to that Juno and Libra, that balance. So it's not, it's trial and error, not having shame if anything's gone wrong in that respect, but yeah, very important. Uh, with the Neptune to understand that when you first meet someone, there's likely to be a period where you see them in this light. I'm gonna turn on this cat toy really quick. It shouldn't make any noise. You might see them in this light. So take things slowly. Don't make commitments. So quickly, and yeah. So moving forward, I've said a lot of things already, but like Ceres in Cancer, you really like you nurture a lot in a very emotionally kind of touchy way, and you like to feel that back. It makes you it adds like more comfort to that Jupiter, um, rising on the ascendant, um, and yeah, you have a very warm nature, and the lesson also is to learn to nurture yourself as well, right? Not just give, give. So that's another big theme of the chart, right? And that actual ability to nurture is really linked to your own relationship with your mother. So if there's a close and loving relationship, that shows in the adult life. If not, it can kind of make it can be like a indicator of codependency, right? So something to watch out for. And yeah, I already talked about Chiron and Cancer, first house, like first house Chiron, there can be like being wounded, like either emotionally or physically, like when it comes to like expressing your essential being early on. So yeah. And then Cancer, like yeah, just feeling unsure of yourself. I have this one too in your own family, like you're kind of feeling misunderstood in your own family, like no one's really on your page. You kind of have to like walk around eggshells, that kind of energy. Painful experiences in your home, childhood, all that. But it makes you like intuitively know how to care for your own family members, and for the people that you love, and really want to like, kind of if the parents, I'm not saying they were or weren't, but like, parents are just humans, right? So it just makes you want to like be a better version for your kids. If you have kids in fifth house sun, that's literally like, it's literally like, kids could be very, very important to you, having fun also, and creativity. It gives you it makes you a child at heart, and a love for children, and, children that will love you back. So it's like, it makes being a mother like very, 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 very advantageous to you. And very life-changing with the Pluto conjunction, right? But also Pluto in the fifth is very important karmically, because it's like there's a huge need to express yourself creatively, people with Pluto in the fifth, like they enter their life and they know they have this feeling back of their head that they have this special mission. Like I'm here to like really like create, like to really add to my creative, to learn how to be more creative, right? But they have to watch out for that need for attention that can come, right? And sometimes they can be a little bit overly dominant with children. Yeah. And Mercury fifth house with children make you want to really communicate a lot with your children. But like I said, you have to watch out with that conjunction, as yeah, it can make one with Black Moon Lilith, it can make one kind of just like Scorpio really comes out. But yeah, Mercury and Mars, forthright, very powerful speaker, someone who likes like very thought provoking discussions, which goes with the Sag. Okay. Yeah, beautifully aspected Sun. Like, wow, I guess that'd be a good relationship with your father. You never know though with the Pluto conjunction. So, yeah. What else could I say? Also, like karmically with the South and the North nodes, like really learning about self-control. And just yeah, focusing on like surrender and letting go of like ingrained attitudes of past lives, and really going for spiritual values instead of materialistic ones. I already kind of talked about that. And then with the Aquarius, and this is something I experience all the time. It's like the struggle between the ego and the need to be there for humankind, right? So it's about like setting aside. It's about going from the me to the we. But then also in your chart with the fifth house, it's also keeping some of the me, but knowing that that's going to contribute to the we. So like, yeah, using your talents to serve the world. So yeah, let's see if there's any stars. And also Saturn and Capricorn, just in general, is going to make someone very, very well organized. And Jupiter in Cancer is going to make someone very, very loving and giving and just have that like abundant Cancer energy, just very, very approachable and love. Yeah, it's just it's really like really a strong urge to really look after loved ones, and a lot of times it makes people want a very large family, and they can really feel like the world is their family, their friends are their family, everyone's their family. Just it's beautiful placement. Okay, let's look closer. Okay, wow, damn. So I've been talking about this one for a while. So I have no idea what you look like. I have no idea. You have what my girlfriend has, lust rising. Now I swear I'm doing my own research on this one. So when we do the follow-up, I think you got the follow-up paid for, I'm pretty sure. But let me check actually. We need to talk about this. We need to talk about this. Yeah, you do have the follow-up. So, okay, check this out. Lust is an asteroid. I might like do my own research on this because I have a lot of like people. I've seen this. Lust is literally sexy. But I've seen what can happen because Jupiter is also conjunct lust and the ascendant. It's between the two. That can make someone very, very sexy to the point they want to like hide themselves. And I've seen it in many instances attract stalkers. I've seen it where the person gets sexualized very easily, like seen in a way where people just want to have like just like see them in a very, it's like lust, that like people want to have sex with them. I don't know how to fucking say it. Like just sexy. I don't know. Hot. While Aphrodite might be more beautiful, lust is rising, which is what you look like, is going to give that. It's on Jupiter, which makes everything bigger. So I'm very, very curious to see how that is, because I've seen it really show up in ways that are, it's very nice because it definitely makes one attractive and seductive, and but then it can be bad because it can create stalkers. I've literally seen that in 2 cases. So one was yesterday. So probably there's been more, but and then my friend, she had Aphrodite and lust on her Venus, the third, and I don't think she's had a stalker, but she is definitely sexy and pretty. But yeah, lust is the sex it's the sexy asteroid. I don't know how to fucking say it. I don't like talking about these kind of words on here, but when it's lust, it's the only one one of the only ones I'll talk about. I'll talk about that. I can't talk. Okay, so let's look further. So you have Spica on Juno. I don't know what that would do besides just give you lots of luck with your marriage. But it's an asteroid to a fixed star, so I don't really know if that would. I don't really put much weight into that, if any. I'm unsure, so I'll not say anything. Okay, so none there. None there. Okay, you have asteroid union conjunct your moon. So obviously, like, being a part of a relationship is very important to you. And yeah, it just kind of like is an obvious like just yeah, watching out for that codependency. But then you also have Lilith, not so close, but close. Yeah, it's within 2 degrees. That makes you a badass. I don't want to say the B word, but just a badass. Also, Sappho's not far, so you have like in Zubin al-Shalami, so you have like this poetry kind of magic side to you too. But Lilith is like the woman who just doesn't put up with shit, who can survive in like the patriarchal world, doesn't take shit. Okay. So it should be, let's see, midheaven, nothing. That should be it. Yeah. So that's everything. Hope you enjoyed. Let's see how I did time-wise. 1:07. I was talking fast, but oh my God. You have no idea. Like, imagine I have all these readings and it's like 2 hours, every single fucking time. And now I'm like developing like strategies of how to keep it to closer to 115, 120, and I'm so proud of myself. Thank you. Anyways, hope you enjoyed. Let me know about the second reading. I highly, highly, highly suggest it. And that is it. Thank you. Beautiful reading, beautiful chart, so much good. And like I said, there's no besides the Pluto conjunct Sun Scorpio, no like really difficult aspects. So power to you. All right.